Hallelujah. To the glory of God, Sharon.
That's a good one. So, what the Lord's been speaking to me has been tying in with, amazingly, what He's been speaking to you as well. But some of the body has not been able to step into that forerunner position or step into the army that the Lord's called them into because of drainage. Drainage of the things that He's poured into. Every one of us has access to certain giftings, certain empowerments, certain charismas, certain resources. And there are very good stewards of those things. And then there are some that come across our paths that have not been, let's say, particularly using those things the way they could. But they find it easier to turn to a person that they see operating in those things and pull the resources from them. And it causes tremendous drainage. And there's a new level of stewardship that the Lord is calling us to, a new level of boundaries. And He spoke to me about that. And the ones that we've been pouring into and thought that they weren't able, and they come constantly for help. And they're pulling on our resources. He's saying now, leave them to me. Leave them to me. Now each person is going to have to pray into that specifically to see which ones you need to leave to the Lord. But because there is such a time of pruning right now, He wants those that have been turning to man to be turning to Him. And in order for that to happen, some have to feel it at a much deeper level. The pain, the lack of resource, the lack of discipline that they've been under, the lack in general of not using their giftings the way He's called them to use them. And that's how, when they feel the pain of that and the draining of that they will cry out to Him and turn to Him. So if we're standing in that gap and filling that place, we're hindering what He wants to do in them in this time. And it keeps them underdeveloped. And I know that there's going to be certain situations where someone needs counsel and they need to come and, get counsel to move ahead into the things that God's called them into. But you know the people that I'm talking about that have been draining you and draining you and draining you over the years, and you have not seen fruit in their lives, or a little fruit, but not nearly as much as there should be. Leave them to Him, He's saying, so that He can work and massage their hearts and turn them into the warriors that they need to be. And when soldiers are called out to war, and we want to be put in His army, don't we? We leave people behind, right? We get called into another place, sometimes another country, to help those in need, but we leave our family members, our loved ones behind lots of times. And so He's calling us in a new way to soldier on with new boundaries. And if we will do that, and will necessarily end certain things that He's called us to end, and especially the dead works that have not been producing anything, but they were good godly things we were doing, but they weren't producing the things that He wanted to have produced, then you will see new levels of empowerment come to you, new levels of giftings, new levels of resources, and new levels of charismas to be used for the new purposes that He's called us to. Hallelujah.